I listen to most of my YouTube videos at 1.5 to 2 times speed. So if you want to learn how to do some of these things quicker or see how I got from point A to point B, go ahead and increase that speed of this video and you'll be able to get through the content quicker and maybe a little more worth your while. Thanks for joining in. Hello and welcome to another 3D modeling video. We're going to go ahead and design the inserts for these windows. We're going to use this basically as a laser cut walls, 3D printed windows, doors, and we're going to set up these doors in such a way that it allows us um, to make variations of the doors, variations of the windows. But because the windows from this building to other buildings will have the same openings or width and height, we can make many variations and just plug and play. So as we get down the road and we've created all these various windows and doors, we can make structures a lot more quickly because we don't have to worry about these accessory pieces. We just kind of plug and play. And we can always have some variation, create more later, but that's kind of um, the design goal, if you will. All right, so let's go ahead and create this first window. As you know, we're going to go ahead and create a sketch on the face. Going to go to create, project, crack the whole face on the front here. Creates our points around this window, which is perfect. That's what we want. We're going to offset. We're going to offset around this large window. Now, I do need to have this inside portion have some thickness. This is going to be the side that actually inserts into the window. I don't want it too large though, because I really don't want to take up a lot of the spacing in the window. So we'll do 0.5, hit enter. And then from this point, we want to offset this again. So we're going to select the outside and then we're going to flip the trim. So what do we think about that trim? It's kind of deceiving because you see that back window there, but one seems okay. Remember, this is a negative number because it's going outward. Let's do negative 0.8 maybe. And we'll just kind of see what that feels like. For this portion of the window, it's basically done. I kind of like where it's at. So you also got to remember this inside face may make the trim seem a little bit larger because they're going to be combined. So you'll have that 0.0 or that 0.8, and then you're going to have the 0.5. So it's going to come to be about 1.3 trim potentially, which may be too big already. So let's try negative 0.5, and we'll see what that looks like when we extrude everything. So at this point, it's a pretty simple window. We're going to go ahead and done it. We're going to extrude, and my sketch went away because I have them unchecked. So let's go ahead and go back to our window here, and I accidentally clicked the extrude over there. We'll undo our other sketches and just leave our newest sketch, sketch 6, open. So at this point, I'm going to grab the top layer here, and we're going to extrude this out 0.25 and see what that feels like. I think I did 0.5 on this one. We can inspect that line. So we'll go to measure and get that outside line. It says 0.75. So let's go back to our extrude. We'll say 0.75. It comes out quite a bit. They both do. We'll have to 3D print it, throw it in, and see how we feel about that. So there's that. And then we need to extrude the inside. So I'm going to turn that sketch back on. We're going to extrude. And for this one, I'm going to extrude in 2 sides because I want it to come out to meet that outside wall or that outside trim. So it's one piece 3D printed. Then I also want it to extrude backward as well. So what I'll do is side 1, I'm going to say to object. I'm going to click this front face of this trim. And it's automatically making it the same. And then for the back side, these are both positive numbers. And the reason why we know they're positive is because the way that the arrows are facing. And so side 1 is coming towards the front, side 2 is going towards the back. So this should be a positive distance. So we're going to type in 2. It goes into the hole. And then I want this to be a new body. One of the other concerns, which I didn't double check, was I want to make sure this was a new body as well. And so we have these 2 bodies here potentially. So let's undo our sketch, go to our bodies, turn a lot of these things off. And so we have body 10, which is the trim. And then we have body 9, which is the inside portion. And if we turn off our sketch, we should see that this is basically an insert around that hole. And I want this to be one body, so when we 3D print it, it's ready to go. So at this point, we're going to go and highlight both of those, hit combine. Want to join these two items, hit OK, and boom, we have one body, body 9. So at this point, that window's done. So if you want to go ahead and grab that, throw that into your 3D printer, your software, print it off, we're good to go. If you want to make one of these small ones with me, let's go ahead and continue on. Now, on this side, I'll probably make a variation, and I'll include that below, but may not be in the video. So go ahead and check the Google Drive link below. So let's continue. I'm going to turn off my other bodies, and we're going to start on this face. We're going to start this wall here. Once again, create, project, and project that whole wall. Hit OK. Offset, we're creating our trim. Let's do negative. Before, I think that one was negative 0.75. Need to create a offset on the inside. Once again, that projected line, we'll say 0.5. And then at this point, we're going to actually finish this sketch. Turn our sketches back on. Just utilize the one that's there. Extrude. Extrude our trim, 0.75. Make sure our sketch is turned back on so we can also extrude this one both forward and backwards. Gotta change it to two sides. To object. The object is the front face of that wall, so it's flush. And then at the bottom, we'll do 2 millimeters into that 3 millimeter piece of basswood that I'm going to be using, or MDF board. Going to do new body, hit OK, and that should be one piece. It's not because I did a join again on this one, but we'll just change it back to new body. Turn off our other bodies, and once again, you can see how we're just kind of getting used to this. Select body 12, body 11. I'm holding shift as I'm selecting the second one. Combine, and then we can hit join, and here we have body 12. So this is our trim basically for that window, but I want to make it one piece, and so now we're going to go ahead and create the insides of this section. And so I want something straight down the middle, and then maybe a couple pieces along the side here. All right, so as we begin this next portion, we're going to create another sketch. It's going to be on the face here. But first, we need to go to create, project again, and make sure we select the face, not this line behind there, of the trim. And we're going to project inside that. We're going to do an offset inside this inner circle. I'm going to make it 0.5. I want to save some room on the inside of this. Once again, this is one of the first test windows I'm doing. We'll see how it looks when we piece it all together. But at this point, I want to create a line that's going to go from the midpoint. We see the midpoint's a triangle all the way over. Now that we have our midpoint, I want to create a center point rectangle. I'm going to find the midpoint of that line. We're going to stretch it out, and I want it to be the distance of the width outside that trim, because that's going to be a window, not necessarily to trim, but the inner offset is going to be our windows that can move, slide up or down. So we're going to have a upper window, lower window, and one's going to be farther out than the other to represent a window being half open or something like that. And then I want it to be double the width of our offset, because there's going to be half of that is associated with the top window, the other half is associated with the bottom window, and it's 0.5 all the way around. So at this point, I'm going to leave these open. I'm not going to have any additional pieces. Very simple windows. We're going to extrude. So I'm going to select this. I don't want the full window. I want just this inside portion, and then I want this top. And so I'm going to go ahead and left click and hold just so I can select the top one. This one, I want it to be further out towards the front here. So I'm going to do a little bit of a two-side, I think. And I want it to come out, let's say 0.5. 0.75. It's actually going backwards, isn't it? So let's say 0.5. That comes out a little bit, and then we'll say 0.5 backward, and we'll call that our front window. And then for the back window, what we're going to do is also extrude, and we may need to turn that sketch back on. Face forward here again, select the side, select these fronts, not the whole thing, settle down, there we go. And now I want to actually start the profile plane offset. I want it to offset backward, and so this should be a negative 0.5. And then I want the distance to be 0.5, but I want this, see if I can turn off the other body. Yeah, I joined it. So I need to get a little creative with these angles. I want it to be inset. And it does look like it is. It looks like it's the same depth. It just doesn't come out as far. So what if we make this, instead of 0.5, if we make this 1, so it's going to come out too far. So what if we offset it by 1? And that needs to be, obviously, as you can tell, a -1. And let's hit join and see what this window looks like. We'll turn off our sketch. And so forward facing, you don't really see it as hard, but it does look like we get the design we want, which is an inset window, and we can maybe make that more exaggerated depending on how we feel that looks overall. But for the basic building, we have what appears to be just a basic window with the inside that could go up or down, and we can put some clear film over that. We can maybe put some coloring behind that film to make it look like there's curtains or blinds, something along those lines. So there you go. Thanks for joining in. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And this is just